New at 5, a bill making its way through the state legislature could provide some relief to domestic abuse victims who fight back against their abusers.
Advocates held a vigil on the steps of the state capitol today to support that bill and domestic abuse survivors who are serving time for fighting back. Fox 23's Michelle White joins us live with their message.
Shay and Sarah, it's called the Oklahoma Domestic Abuse Survivorship Act, and it passed out of House Conference Committee on Monday. Advocates say it's a step forward in the right direction, but it's missing two key provisions to help domestic abuse survivors who are imprisoned for assaulting or killing their abusers. About 25 people, including speakers, domestic abuse survivor advocates, and families of survivors now serving prison time, gathered on the steps of the state capitol Tuesday morning in support of House Bill 1639 and in solidarity for imprisoned survivors whose pictures are here. Tracy Lyle is the executive director of Domestic Violence Intervention Services in Tulsa.
70% of women who are incarcerated are survivors of domestic violence. So it's a pretty high rate of domestic violence among women who are incarcerated.
The bill is called the Oklahoma Domestic Abuse Survivorship Act. It changes the law on sentencing to say for a person who is a survivor of domestic abuse and has been charged with the crime against his or her intimate partner, the court shall consider as a mitigating factor that the person has been abused physically, sexually, or psychologically by the person the defendant defended himself or herself against. Lawmakers rejected making the law retroactive to reduce sentences for women who assaulted or killed their abusers and rejected sentencing guidelines. Instead, they said the court shall use discretion in sentencing. If the court finds by a preponderance of the evidence that the defendant is a survivor of domestic abuse within 1 year prior to or on the date of the offense by the person the defendant defended himself or herself against. Colleen McCarty is the executive director of Oklahoma Appleseed Center for Law and Justice.
When the woman fights back, oftentimes it's gotten escalated so far by that point because women typically won't fight back until things have gotten very, very bad. And so by that point, there is probably going to be more extreme violence. And when the police arrive, they end up looking like the more aggressive party in the situation. It's a systemic failure all around.
She says without requiring judges to reduce sentences, they will leave the mandatory sentences the same. House Bill 1639 passed unanimously in the House and 46-1 in the Senate. I did reach out to the authors of that bill, but it did not get phone calls returned today. Live in Tulsa, covering news that matters. Michelle White, Fox 23 News.